You've talked about how Labor is not listening to the people. Yet when you pick up the Western Australian newspaper, or the Wake Australian newspaper, I call it because that's all it's worth for, it says in there, we've consulted with the people, we've had meetings here, we've put out discussion papers, we've listened to the people, we've had meetings with the WA Firearms Community Alliance, we talk to Fitzy and Steelo all the time, they know what's going on, you are being consulted. Do you think that that is genuine, that they have consulted the people? Because I remember when that discussion paper came out about the firearm laws a couple of years ago now. I wrote an extensive paper, I went through it. I'm sure you did too. A lot of people went through it, and we put in our submissions. A few weeks later, the exact same law came out with zero changes. Absolutely none. And they called that, the Labor Party of WA called that consulting with the people. It's not really genuine to say you're consulting with the people and then you don't listen to what they say. I don't think that's the accurate description of the word. You have been involved in consultation as a farmer. You've also been involved from the shooting side. Do you think Labor has listened to you at all, or do you think they're only listening to specific people? And by specific, I mean the police, who have been very heavy-handed in writing the laws. Do you think we have a situation now in this great state of WA, that my home, your home, it's the best place in Australia if you're listening from overseas? Do you think we have a situation now in WA where the government does not listen to the people and they serve their own factions, their own ideology, their own agenda, the interests of their donors, the interests of their mate, and the people are worse for it?
They're beholden to the donor. You know, that they will do what the donor tells them because they rely on that to be able to employ a whole suite of young, indoctrinated people who then end up loyal to the party and only ever live an entire life inside the party machine without any real world experience. And then they end up as the politicians, and they've learnt that what you do is you listen to the lobbyist and you employ the young person and you know, give them only what you want them to know. And I have a good friend who was a sitting member for the Liberal Party, and he said the best thing that ever happened was he got voted out because he ended up he said you just end up, you're in that little room, you're in, and they only give you the report that suits the party and the report that suits the aides and the advisors. And one of the things that we need to make sure that we are clear on in regards to this consultation, and that they're only listening to, say, the police on it. When we say the police, we are referring to police brass, because there are a lot of police who are not happy with this situation, because what it's doing is breaking down the community relationships. You've gone from going into a pub to nah, like, you know, nah, go away. Like, you guys represent everything, um, everything that I don't want. You represent this. You're becoming a militant arm of the Labor Party rather than a service that is there to basically protect and ensure that, you know, everything is ticking along smoothly and in a cordial fashion. So we need to look at how these decisions and these political police, they might come out eventually as an actual suite. The political driven police are hurting the police officers on the front line. They are hurting them, and that's why they are leaving. So, yeah, they might be listening to the politicians with their, you know, consultations, and I love that consultation that we had with the firearms. No response, nothing, no acknowledgement, and no change or input. And I think one of the best is probably with the consultations with the primary producer groups, because the the primary producer group, so the WA Farmers Federation, I'm a member of that. turned around and I had a chat, and they said, no, we did consult with our members and we asked. I said, well, I didn't say that at all. And then when I met with one of the PGA reps, said, look, if you're not going to let me get involved in these consultation meetings and get in there and actually be someone who's used shit with their hands, does it daily, understands both perspectives with firearms, how they can be used for good or evil. Please, for the love of God, advocate for us not to have further restrictions. Tell them that we are responsible, we are doing a job, we are a safe community, and we need to have access to more tools. And the the group go forward, they go into their consultation, they get told to sit down, shut up, and agree with them. And for the minister and the group to turn around and say, we never heard no one ever said to us that primary producers need Cat Ds. No one ever said that professional shooters and shooters in general need suppressors. And no one said that there needs to be some changes to the handguns that primary producers can have. And you sit there and you go, well, this were your ears painted on? Did you not read the email? Like what is going on? And I think you're right. They just they say they've consulted, they say that they've asked people, and they will only ever pick out the little bits.